It was the last week of June, and I headed into Algonquin Provincial Park through Access Point One at Kawaywaymog Lake for a long-awaited canoe trip that would loop through several beautiful lakes in the northwestern part of the park. I was slow traveling by canoe to take advantage of the week that I'd spend out there alone with no distractions. Able to relax, unwind, enjoy capturing the area through photography and video, and challenge myself through the long days, what weather would come, and hopefully push myself towards my full potential in some way. After a 4-hour drive to Algonquin's Access Point One, I spent the first day paddling into the park along the Amable de Fond River from Kawaywaymog to Kawaywaymog or North T Lake. There were 2 short portages along the way, which were more of a way to get out of the canoe and stretch my legs than any type of hindrance. When I reached my first campsite on a high cliff overlooking the west arm of North T Lake, I set up my camp, had a great first night's meal, and was treated to a spectacular sunset. I was alone in Algonquin Park for 7 days, and now it's time to continue the story. I camped the night on the west arm of North T Lake on a cliff campsite that offered a great view of the lake and sunset. It was close to the last portage from the day before and an easy paddle to get there. It was a nice campsite that I'd be happy to visit again. So I've had my coffee, had my breakfast, and I'm all packed up. I'm just about to load the canoe and hit the water. I'm not going that far today. I've got about an hour and a half of paddling. I've got the wind on my back, and it's hard to tell. There's quite a bit of wind up the hill, but on the lake, I imagine there's going to be some, but right now the chop isn't that bad, but still the wind will be on my back, so it's going to push me, you know, a decent pace. So I might be to the next lake a lot sooner than I'm anticipating. I chose to make this trip a longer trip. Not in distance, but in time, for a couple reasons. The first reason is because I've missed 3 trips already because of the pandemic, everything just being shut. I had a trip planned for the end of April, an ice out trip, and then I had a spring Nipissing River trip, and I had a trip up into Killarney, and they were all canceled because of parks being closed because of the pandemic. So when the parks opened up, this one was planned for, I believe, 4 days, but I decided I would just extend it and use the time to just enjoy it a bit more and have more time to fiddle about with cameras and hopefully do some fishing and just slow travel through the park. So yeah, so by doing that, I added a night onto Mangotasi, which is, it might as well be a part of North T Lake, but It is its own lake. It's just there's not much of a division between the two. And so, yeah, from this campsite to Mangotasi is going to be, according to Jeff's map anyway, it's about an hour and a half. So, yeah, I'm going to say as well, last night it was cold. Not from the wind. So the wind died down probably around 9 o'clock, and I don't think there was any wind at all, but yeah, it was cold. I think, if I remember right from the forecast, last night got down to about 7 degrees, and my sleeping bag's rated to -1, I think, so should have been good enough, but yeah, it was pretty cold. So didn't sleep that great. 2 cups of coffee. I hoped that would wake me up, but still pretty groggy in the head. But anyway, yeah, weather is right now, it's sun and cloud. Last night was nice and clear, or cleared up. This morning was clear, sun and cloud now. Today is supposed to clear up again, so we'll see how accurate the weather forecast is. But so I don't ramble too much, I'm going to get everything loaded up and head out on the water. So I brought 2 rods. I've got an ultralight, which I'm not going to use right now, and then I've been trying to find a decent medium rod, fast action, and the only thing I could find online was this one here. Never heard of the brand before, Fiblink. So I bought this. Yeah, it's 6 foot 6 inches, medium fast action. Takes 8 to 14 pound line. I think I have 8 pound on right now. So there weren't any bad reviews. So yeah, we'll see. Never heard of the brand. Maybe it's a well-known brand, but not well known to me. I should say as well, there's plenty of medium fast action rods out there, but what I was looking for specifically is a 4 section, so I can pack it easy for the canoe trips. Probably let a bit of line out in a minute, but for now, we'll just get going. After setting up my rod, my line was only in the water for a few minutes before the wind started to pick up and the conditions changed to not being the best for fishing, or more so, not the best for landing anything into the canoe. So I pulled the line and decided to focus on paddling to Mangotasi while hoping to get out the big camera and turn my focus to the real reason I was there and hopefully get a few good shots. After about an hour of paddling, I spotted a little bay with some shelter from the wind, so I pulled in for a bit of a snack. I've been trying to pack more fresh food into these backcountry canoe trips, but it's always difficult with no refrigeration and the added weight of carrying the good stuff. This time I decided to try to pack in a few fresh apples as a refreshing snack, and I'll tell you, those apples were babied and cared for like nothing else. But wow, did they become a nice treat as the days went on. You can see there's a blue heron over there. I was packing my main camera, a Panasonic GH5, and I brought two lenses to shoot with, a wide angle for landscapes and a zoom lens for wildlife. I also invested in a couple GoPros this year that I decided were a bit more disposable, and I hoped they'd still be able to capture a good image that would present the beauty of the area. The GH5 is a nice camera, a micro four thirds system. It's regarded as a lighter weight digital sensor camera. The zoom lens is a 200 to 800 millimeter equivalent lens, and I've had some great success with it in the past. The challenge for me is shooting from a floating, rocking canoe that gets moved around by the wind and water. Trying to get a steady shot can sometimes be near impossible. A not bad shot considering the distance and conditions, but I'd have to wait and be ready for another better opportunity. And as I was entering into Mangotasi Lake, an opportunity appeared with another blue heron. This time, much closer to the canoe. I had the camera out and was able to get in a few quick shots. It really didn't want to have anything to do with me, and I was getting a bit hungry, and I wanted to find somewhere to set up camp. But it was a great moment. It always is. I continued to paddle down to the last campsite on Mangotasi, hoping to shorten the distance a bit for the next day. There wasn't anyone else camped out on the lake, so I had the opportunity to scout out the campsites. Okay, so I'm on Mangotasi, and I'd like to be on a campsite on the east side of the lake. It's a full moon tomorrow, but it's starting to show tonight as a full moon, and it's the last super moon, or super full moon, super moon. Anyway, it's the last one of the year. The one in June, they call it a strawberry moon, I guess. Super strawberry. I don't know if it's going to be reddish color. I don't think so. From what I understand, the name comes from the fact that now is when the strawberry harvest happens. So anyway, I want to be on the side of the lake that I can hopefully see the full moon, maybe get a shot of it. But that puts me in the wind as well. So this campsite, so there's two campsites, so I stopped in at the first one, and then I had a look around, and then I paddled down to the next one, and that's where I'm at right now. Starving, so I had something to eat, and I think I like the other one better. This one, it's nice, but there's a lot of trees down, and the distance between the trees for hanging a hammock might be problematic. And I don't know if it's just me, but it feels more windy here. So I don't know if this is in a spot where it just gets funneled through. So yeah, I hate to get back in the canoe and paddle back, but I think I'm gonna get in the canoe and paddle back. So tomorrow I don't have that far to go really, and it's gonna be mostly portaging. It'll be paddling the rest of this lake, and then there's two portages. One has a falls, so that should be half decent, hopefully. So I don't think it really matters. The distance between this site and that site to go back isn't a big deal. It only took me probably 15 minutes. I'm gonna have to paddle against the wind, and that always sucks, but yeah, it is what it is. So the other thing is there's lots of poison ivy here. It's not like I'm not standing in it, so I look down at my feet, but there is a lot of poison ivy and patches around here, and I don't react to poison ivy typically, but I don't really want to be camping at it either. So anyway, so I'm gonna paddle back and set up at the other camp. Back into the canoe, and I paddled back to the first campsite, heading into the wind. It was only about a 10-minute trip. Yeah, it does seem a little bit less windy here, so that's good. And spacing of these trees is perfect for a hammock. Lots of spots. With my campsite set up, it was time for an earlier dinner so I'd have time to get a fire going and be ready to film a possible sunset and hopefully have a shot at the supermoon. A simple meal. This was the first time I tried this brand of freeze-dried dinners, a beef stroganoff style noodles and beef. I've had similar from different brands before, and although they're not as good as freshly prepared food, they are lightweight, easy to pack, and easy to prepare while backcountry camping. One thing I've learned is to be sure to dig deep and stir in the water all the way to the bottom. Somehow, there always tends to be dry noodles or seasoning powder left at the bottom. Truthfully, they never really look that appetizing at first glance. But they're surprisingly not that bad and definitely fill the hunger gap. I wasn't the only one having my supper. A nearby hawk was also enjoying its catch of the day. Hey, take it easy, guys. The campfire was easy to start again with the Bigfoot fire plugs. And with a little kindling, I was ready to sit back and relax until sunset. Okay, so the moon is up, and as you can see, it's sunset right now. So the sun is setting just around the corner there. It's about 10 past 9. I don't know if the GoPro will pick it up, but you can see in the center of the screen, very faint white moon. It's a little bit cloudy, so it's not super clear, but above it is clear, so hopefully in 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, the moon will be a bit higher in the sky and the night will be darker. Maybe we'll get a good look. Okay, so I've got the camera rolling down there with the wide angle lens, just getting a little bit of a time lapse with the sunset fading and the moon and night sky coming out. And in a moment when the darkness starts to come out, I'll put on the zoom lens and we'll see if I can zoom in on the moon, and maybe we'll be able to get some details of the moon.